Hey everybody, I'm Jason and this is Jay's Project Garage. So you'll notice I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. It's Indiana, man. On a Wednesday I was 94, on a Thursday it was like 70. And it's kind of been cold ever since. I mean, it gets up to like 75 in the after 70, 75 in the afternoons, but it's a little nippy in the morning. Let's see, what do we need to talk about? Ooh. In the last video, I think somebody misunderstood what I said. I never called Cleetus a hack. The shop where he took it is a hack. Hack and Whack Shack. I do think Jack Stan doesn't know jack shit about carburetors, but overall, I think they're really good at what they do and they all seem like genuinely good people. Especially after the last video with Cleetus going out on his jet boat and trying to help people. That says a lot. It says a lot about a person. So, I believe there's genuinely good in everyone until they prove me wrong. Good people. Derek, Vice Grip Garage, seems like a really good dude. I'd like to hang out with him. So, don't misinterpret anything I said. Please. I wasn't bad-mouthing anybody. All right, let's see. I got a bunch of, I did a lot of stuff yesterday. I had an entry door in the back of my garage. I took it out. I had to put concrete block down around the bottom so it matches the rest of the garage. And I'm building a wall for that today so I can get that big giant pile of firewood moved in with the rest of the wood that I've already got in there. Friday, the utility company came out and they buried the power from, well, the power was already buried. They hooked it up at the pole, hooked it up at the house. I flipped the disconnects on and everything worked. No sparks, no smoke, no nothing. That was pretty awesome. Had to take half a day off work. Really screwed me. Now I gotta try to get caught up. Let's see. What else did I do? What did I do yesterday? Well, I'll be showing you that later on in the video. I had to go pick up my mother-in-law's Explorer because it didn't have any heat. And like I said before, the weather took a turn and it's been pretty cold here in the mornings, like low 40s. I don't want her freezing. I can't do that. Blend door actuator is bad. So I figured it out. I've already pulled the old one out. I gotta go to the parts store and get one, but I'll walk you guys through how I figured out what the problem was, and I'll video me putting it all back together. And it is a pain in the ass. And I still want to make the video on the Torino. I really, really do. But it's opening weekend for bow. And I don't want to be out in the woods making a bunch of ruckus when everybody's trying to hunt. I bow hunted a lot when I was younger. My shoulders just won't let me do it anymore. And honestly, I haven't hunted in, it's been a while. I don't know. Just sitting out in the cold isn't as much fun as it used to be. But we're going to be working on the tecumseh. And this is what happened last weekend. Here's a little clip. That's not supposed to happen when you're taking that off. I think whoever was in here before cross-threaded this thing, put my impact on it, and it spun right out. You know, I can't get any spark. I've tried everything. I think the coil's bad. Something was up. When I had all the wires connected, I had continuity between both halves of the points, whether they were open or closed. So something weird's going on. But I guess the moral of the story is this guy's going to be on hold. I'm going to have to drill and tap this so I can put a bolt in it to hold the flywheel on, and I'm going to have to see if I can find a new coil. I know what you're thinking. Jason, you jackwagon. You're not supposed to be doing stuff off camera. You're supposed to be showing us what's going on. I was just trying to get a little bit ahead because all I was focused on was doing the piston ring test. I just wanted to make sure the thing ran. But as soon as I saw it didn't have spark, I should have walked you guys through it. So I'm sorry. But I'm going to show you how we're going to fix it. And I had said something about needing to find a coil. Well, hold on a minute. Found a coil. This is a point style coil. And no, this is not for a lawnmower engine, but it'll work fine, and I'll show you how we're going to rig all this stuff up, and we'll get this thing running. Speaking of getting the power done, that's where my old panel was, and here's the new panel I put in. I got everything wired, all the circuits and everything are working. I still got some stuff to do, but for the most part, that project is finished. Okay, so here's where we're at. I'm going to grind this flat. I'm going to drill and tap it to hold the flywheel on. Now the way these tecumsehs work, and Briggs & Strattons are the same way, and originally I thought, well, I'll just take a coil or a magneto from a Briggs and put it on here, but I can't. The way the tecumsehs are made, the magnets are on the inside of the flywheel. On Briggs & Strattons are on the outside, so that wouldn't work anyway. I'm not really planning on using this engine for anything, so I don't want to go through and replace the coil. I just don't need to. All I needed this thing to do is run so we can do some tests on it, and I want to test all kinds of different stuff on this engine just because it's easy. So instead of going through and trying to find a coil, the points look like they're new, and these points are the contact points are a lot bigger than a Briggs, so I think they'll handle the bigger coil. I don't think that little condenser will, so we're going to use this. So basically all we need is the coil wire, and the condenser, and I'll show you guys how to hook all that up, and hopefully we'll wind up with spark up at this little guy. Almost forgot a really important part. Since this coil runs on 12 volts, we need to supply it, and we're going to use this 12 volt SLA battery. Stands for sealed lead acid. Not really a whole lot different than the battery that's in your car, but this one is used for like exit signs and stuff in businesses. But they work great. They hold a charge for a long time, and it'll work fine for just powering up the coil for the few minutes we're going to run this thing. First project. There's the old door. There's the opening. And there's the concrete block I had to put in. Now I got to build a wall. Ta-da! That part's done. Now I just got to put sheeting on it. And finished. That part's done. On to the next project. Okay, so this morning I messed around and got all the parts together for the little tecumseh thing. I took a door out. Well, actually I took the door out yesterday and put the concrete block in, but I built the wall, put the OSB on the inside. Now I've got to put like 6 sheets on the outside, and I'll probably do that next weekend. But that's done. Went to O'Reilly Auto Parts and ordered the parts for the in-laws Explorer. That's supposed to be here about 2:30, so I think we're gonna go take a late lunch and pick up a part, and I might need to make another trip to Lowe's, I'm not sure. Not even noon. Got all that stuff done. Feeling pretty good. I'm all set to start bringing wood into the garage, but we're gonna work on this tecumseh first. Okay, I think I may have miscalculated. I don't think this battery has enough ass. So I've got a car battery on the charger right now. I'm probably gonna have to postpone this till next weekend because I need to get the Explorer finished up, and it's already almost 4 o'clock. So I've got the coil and everything all hooked up. The wire from the points goes to the negative side of the coil. I've got the new condenser in there. It also goes to the points. I've got the negative and the positive. I got the negative going to a ground from the battery, the positive going to the positive side of the coil. So everything's all hooked up. And I haven't had a chance to really mess with this to see if it has spark or not, but I'm guessing that this battery doesn't have enough amps to do what I need it to do. So it's no big deal. But the part for the Explorer, this is the old one. And every time you tried to go from air conditioning to heat, it would make a clicking sound. And that gear right there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's missing a tooth. And this gear is also missing a tooth. So if you went from AC to heat, it would just sit there and click, and it wouldn't actually move the air door. So I'll take this out to the truck and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, here we are inside the car. I had to take the center console out and the panel underneath the steering column, and there's a brace, and then that actuator sits up in there, and there's just barely room to get a wrench in there to get the screws out, and there's 3 screws that hold it, and the blend door sits inside this. And like I was explaining before, basically what it does is it adjusts for hot or cold,
And then, you know, if you've got the dial turned halfway, it adjusts so that adjusts your air temperature. So I'm gonna get this guy wiggled up in there and screwed in, then we're gonna see if it works. But this has really been a hoot. The part was only like 36 bucks, but it took me like, oh, probably close to an hour to get everything out and get this out of there. Hopefully it won't take me anywhere near that long to put it back together.
Neighbor's out mowing. I'm debating. I don't know if I need to or not. With the cold temperatures at night, my grass hasn't really grown a whole lot this week. So should I mow? Or should I roll the dice and see if it turns into a jungle by next weekend? But when I forgot to tell you guys, when I went to O'Reilly Auto Parts, so I pull up and there's a larger guy standing there smoking a cigarette with beard, and there's a tall skinny dude standing next to him with real long hair. I saw Jay and Silent Bob at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Just saying. I'm gonna get this Explorer fixed and see if it actually works. And Jason's tip number 417, don't leave your air tools hooked up. My compressor has been running, I don't know, probably been kicking on every hour on the hour, and it doesn't really need to. But the good news is that circuit works. Ugh. New actuator came in. Got it put up in there, and it's a chore to get it up in there. And there's the 3 screws that 2 of them you can only get to with a wrench, and it's little. It's a pain. Got it all put back together. Put the console and everything back in. I thought I was good. Started it up, let it warm up. Switched from cool to warm, and this thing doesn't work. So I took the whole thing back apart. I took the actuator back out. Took it apart, which you're not supposed to do. I took it apart, and I took the big eccentric and I clocked it the opposite way. And with it not in the air box, I plugged it back in, and it'll go to cold, but the motor won't reverse and go back to warm. The motor, this is physically getting warm, but for whatever reason, it won't return. I gotta take this thing back and get another one. It's always something. So that's it. I'm calling it. I got a couple other things I gotta finish up today, and I'm done. I'm over it. Now when I get home from work tomorrow night, I gotta put this thing back together, and hopefully the next new one will actually work the way it's supposed to. So I'm up to 114 subscribers, 100 and something. We're over 100. So I think next week we may start the giveaway, and I already have something in mind, and it'll be a movie quote. It's going to be something pretty obscure, so if you catch it, make sure you're the first one to comment, and you'll be the first one to get it. But for now, you guys get out in the shop and work on your projects. You have a great day, and I will see you next week.